When I was in high school, like most kids, I needed money. My parents gave me an allowance for doing chores around the house, but I needed more. I needed a job. I wondered what to do. My dad suggested that I work at his veterinary practice. I had experience. I loved animals. I wanted to go to school for biology. It sounded like a good idea, but I kind of wanted to do something on my own. I looked at different jobs. Lots of kids at school worked in retail shops and restaurants. That did not sound fun to me. I looked at job sites. There were some interesting options. I took a few interviews. One of my classmates said that he did office work over the weekends. That might be a good option. It would be more relaxing than working in a clothing shop, and I wouldn't have to drive home smelling like food. I applied for the job. I received a call to interview. Interview? This was just a weekend job. But I figured every job would want to interview someone before hiring them. I accepted an interview for the next day after school. I drove to the company, which was an insurance company. The interviewer, who was named Pat, discussed my computer skills, my customer service skills, whatever that was supposed to be. I assumed that it meant being polite and doing your best to help customers. We discussed my plans for the future. At the end of the interview, Pat shook my hand and asked when I could start. I said whenever they could use me. They asked me to come in for training over the weekend. Fine, I wanted to hang out with my friends, Manu and Chuck, but they would understand. I was a working man now. That weekend, I arrived at my new job bright and early for my training. It was pretty self-explanatory, if not dull, but I was getting paid for it, so it was fine. I was shown to my cubicle. Yes, I had a cubicle to work in. That was sort of cool. I would kind of have an office space. That sounded important. I had never even thought about working in an office, so this would be a new experience. I would start the next weekend by observing other employees and sitting in on a few calls. I look forward to being an independent wage earner. The next weekend, I arrived, logged in, and sat down in my cubicle. I waited for anything to happen. I was to observe Jen, the girl in the cubicle next to me. A call came in. Jen took the information and recited from the script that Pat had provided. After the call ended, she logged the information into her computer. We waited for another call. Apparently, it was a slow day. At lunchtime, we went down to the cafeteria on the first floor of the building. After eating something somewhat digestible, we returned to our cubicles. Jen, who I was observing, was playing on her phone while I waited for another call. I thought I'd make conversation. I didn't have anything else to do. She didn't seem interested in dialogue. She continued to play on her phone. I looked at my phone. I played Sudoku on my phone. We took a couple of other calls. I watched as she logged the information into her computer. Finally, after what seemed like a year, it was time to go home. I was beat from doing nothing. I had pretty much worked hard all day to not fall asleep from boredom. Maybe it would be better tomorrow when I started taking calls on my own. The next day, I drove to the corporate center, logged in, sat down in my cubicle. This time, an older guy named Phil was in the cubicle next to me. He seemed a little more interested in conversation. He was a full-timer at the company and was working on the weekend because full-time employees would get a bonus if they picked up weekend hours. It turned out he had a daughter about the same age as my sister Ernesto. He liked tennis and watching TV. At least he seemed like a nice guy. He asked about my family and was curious about Costa Rica. It was nice having someone to talk to. Otherwise, I would have sat, did nothing, and waited for my phone to ring. Again, when I got home, I was beat. I couldn't believe how exhausting sitting and doing nothing was. The next weekend, I was on my own. Nobody was in the cubicle next to me. I took a few calls, provided good customer service, and logged in the information. In between calls and entering information, I drew birds in my sketchbook. I played Sudoku and twiddled my thumbs. I wondered who actually enjoyed this. I mean, when someone is looking for a job, do they seek this type of thing out? Did people go to school to get a job like this? Was there anyone who actually found this interesting? I couldn't imagine that. Picking my nose would be more entertaining than this job. I looked out the window. If I had taken Dad up on his offer, I would be outside helping exercise a dog right now. It was a really nice day. The sun was out, a great day to be outdoors. After lunch, I felt my eyes getting heavy. I waited for the phone to ring, and waited, and waited. I checked to make sure my headset was hooked in. It was. I played Sudoku. I drew in my sketchbook. I filled out my timesheet. I yawned. I was supposed to go to the movies with the gang tonight. My eyes got heavier and heavier. I made a cup of coffee. It made me feel even more tired. When it was time to go home, I would have run out of there, but my feet felt like lead. I was too tired to go to the movies, and I had work the next day. For the next month, I drank coffee before leaving for work. Each day, the hallway leading to where I worked seemed longer and longer and longer. Each day felt longer and longer and longer. I took my calls, logged in the info, set up claims to be processed, considered doing jumping jacks to get my blood flowing. I considered taking a nap on the desktop. I wondered if I picked my nose, if anyone would notice or care. When I was little, I loved making fart noises with my armpit. What if I did that? I again pondered why anyone would actually make a career out of working in an office. I thought I need a sign that I should resign from this job. It sucks. I'm miserable. I would rather clip my toenails all day than do this. I would enjoy changing babies with poo-filled diapers more than this. I would rather clean litter boxes than this. I could think of anything that I would enjoy less than this job. Root canal? It sounded bad, but I'd try it. And that was my sign. I hated this job. It was a tedious, crappy job for me. I tendered my resignation, and then I happily drove home. I ended up working for my dad's veterinary practice after that. I worked a few days after school and on weekends. I enjoyed that job. It gave me great experience for my later life. It also was fun and engaging. The crappy job, and I do not disparage people who like office work, did teach me something though. I knew what sort of job I would enjoy and what sort I would not. I needed something that would stimulate me and yes, entertain me, and that was not working in a cubicle in an office. I also learned that the wrong job is not worth the money that it might pay. I made less money per hour working for my dad, but it was a lot better. I was not exhausted at the end of the day from doing nothing. As an adult, I am happy at the end of the day. I am tired from doing something that I love. Hey, thank you for watching. Please click on the right to subscribe if you liked the video. And please don't forget to click on the bell icon when you subscribe so that you can be notified when we upload a new video. Watch more videos on the left, including our playlist. Thank you.